Hello everybody, this is Mrs. Aslam from Perryfields High School. I am your RS teacher. Today we will be looking at a question, and the question is, what is an ultimate question? We will also be exploring the different types of truths. We have started a project called the Spirited Arts Project. During this project, which will last us a term, we will be looking at different types of questions. Every week we will explore a different type of question. Now RS is a fantastic subject to be looking at the different types of questions that we have. During RS and in our RS lessons, we sometimes ask questions and we try to seek answers that sometimes are considered unanswerable. During our topic, we will be exploring all those different types of questions. Some questions will be answered, some questions will never be answered. And during this topic, we will be trying to explore some of those answers to those questions. At any point, if you wish to pause this video, please do so that you are able to jot down some answers, or you are able to discuss with someone in your family. You might want to discuss some of these questions with a parent or carer or a sibling. First up, what is an opinion? Okay, an opinion is something that you think is true. It's your point of view. Therefore, what do you think is a truth? What is a truth based on? Good. A truth is based on facts. Something we know that is true. Okay. Now, in RS, there are 4 different types of truths. These are called scientific truths, moral truths, religious truths, and historical truths. Now, at this point, you may wish to pause and try to think about what you think each type of truth is based on. Okay, a scientific truth is based on science and is based on observation and experiments. Moral truths is based on what we think is considered to be right or wrong. So the word moral or morality comes from what we think is what is right and what is wrong. A religious truth is a truth that we think or believe that comes from religion. So for example, in Christianity, many Christians believe that Jesus existed. That is considered to be a religious truth. A historical truth is something that happened in history, is based on something that happened. So for example, a historical truth is Hitler killed many Jews. That is a historical truth. Now that we've looked at the different types of truths, we're going to be looking at some questions. For each question, I would like you to think about whether it's a historical truth, moral truth, religious truth, or a scientific truth. At any point, if you wished to pause the video, then please do. So the first question, Henry VIII had 6 wives. Do you think this is a historical truth, moral, religious, or scientific? Correct. It's a historical truth. Next question. Is it wrong to kill? Is this a historical truth, moral truth, religious truth, or scientific truth? Where do you think we can find the answer to the question, it is wrong to kill? Fantastic. Yes, you're right again. This is a moral truth, because moral truths tell us what is right from wrong. You could also argue that this is a religious truth, because in religion, many religions teach us that it is wrong to kill. So for example, in the 10 Commandments in Christianity, one of the 10 Commandments is, thou shalt not kill. You're getting very good at this, Year 7. Our next question. Do we go to heaven when we die? Where do you think we can find the answer to this question? Do you think we can find the answer to this question based on historical truths, moral truths, religious truths, or scientific truths? Yes, it is. You're right again. It is. We can find the answer from looking at more, religious truths. So in religion, such as Christianity and Islam, Christians and Muslims believe that religion tells us what happens to us when we die. So in the Bible, which is a religious book for Christians, and in the Quran, which is the religious book for Muslims, it tells us that when a person dies, that they go to heaven. A topic of much discussion for scientists and other people is the Earth a sphere? Can we find our answer from historical truths, moral truths, religious truths, or scientific truths? Now, those of you who were listening to me carefully, I slipped up, didn't I? Yes, you're right. It's based on scientific truth. Science can explain that the Earth could be a sphere based on tests and observations and other experimentation that they've conducted. The next question is stealing wrong? Can we find the answer to this question based on historical, moral, religious, and scientific truths? Again, you are right, Year 7. We can find the answer to the question, stealing is wrong, or is stealing wrong, based on moral truths. A moral truth is based on what we think is right or wrong. Now, as a parent, I've always taught my son, and I'm sure your parents have as well, and we do the same in school. We teach young people what is right from wrong. This is what we call as moral truths. Religion also teaches us that stealing is wrong. Going back to Christianity, in the 10 Commandments, one of the commandments is do not steal. The next question, Year 7, is was the Great Fire of London in 1666? So where do you think we can find the answer? Can we find the answer according to historical truths, moral truths, religious truths, or scientific truths? Excellent. Yes, we can find the answer to this question based on historical truths. The next question, Year 7, is was Muhammad Allah's greatest prophet? Now, what do you think, or who do you think Allah is? Yes, Allah is the name given to the Muslim God. Muhammad is the name given to the person who was the last prophet. A prophet is a messenger of Allah. So in other words, in Islam, Muslims believe that Muhammad was the messenger of Allah and he was sent down to earth to deliver the message of Allah. So if we wanted to find out whether this is an accurate statement, would we find the answer in historical truths, moral truths, religious truths, or scientific truths? And I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. And the answer is historical truths and religious truths. Some people would argue that we can find the answer in religion. However, why do you think some people will not believe the religious truths? Think about it. Religious truths are often not believed by many people because they think that there isn't sufficient or enough evidence to support it. Some people may believe that events in history, so for example Jesus and Muhammad, we can find these in history, just like we can find the example of Hitler. But then again, some people won't believe this because it goes back to is there enough evidence to support that Muhammad existed? Or is there enough evidence to say that Jesus did really perform the miracles? Let's move on, Year 7. You've done really well in that section by looking at the different types of truths. Now we're going to move on at looking at what is an ultimate question. An ultimate question is a question that can't really be answered. So we don't really know the answer to it. We can begin to answer some of the questions by looking at historical, moral, religious and scientific truths. But some people don't really know because there isn't sufficient evidence to tell us otherwise. Next, you'll be looking at some questions. Based on what you already know about ultimate questions, I would like you to sort them out into a column where you've got ultimate questions and another column where there are other questions. So we've got a column for ultimate questions, and just to remind you, an ultimate question is a question that can't be answered, and other questions that can be answered. Can you have a go at sorting out these questions? So for example, where do we come from? Now, some people say, do we come from the chicken or the egg? It might be a good idea for you to ask someone in your family, or you could even ring a friend. Okay, so you might want to do some of these questions with your friends and think about and have a discussion about these questions. Like, for example, why do people suffer? There isn't just one answer. Some of them are open-ended questions. Some of the questions, like is 2 add to 2 equals 4, will be straightforward. If the question is answerable and we can answer it through science or history, then these questions are not ultimate questions. Have a go. You might even want to ask Google. So if Google can, to some extent, answer your question, then you might use that as an answer. Best of luck. It's time to get creative again, Year 7. Now, those of you that I know liked to do colouring and fine lining, so this is an opportunity for you to do some of that work. What I'd like you to do is to draw an outline of a question mark. You might want to do just the one, or you might want to do all three, just like you can see on the slide here. And inside the question mark, I want you to think of your own examples of ultimate questions. What have you learned about ultimate questions today? You can use some of the ultimate questions that I've given you as examples in this video, or alternatively, you can create some of your own. Once you've completed your question mark, you can fine line it, you can colour it, you can add some symbols, and then please remember to submit your work to your RS teacher. I really look forward to looking at some of your designs. Finally, Year 7, this is a challenge question, and I want you to really think about it. So on a piece of paper or in your book, this is the 12-word challenge. And the question is, which of the truths that we have studied today do you think is the most reliable? So is it historical, scientific, moral, or religious? Which truth do you think is the most reliable and why? Well done, Year 7. I hope you stay safe and make sure you submit your work to your RS teacher, and I look forward to seeing you again and hearing from you in the near future. Take care. This is Aslam.